You've gotten good at this. You can feel it when someone is performing wealth instead of actually holding it. The try-hard energy, the too perfect details. The people faking it can feel that you're already onto them. So they change the costume. The labels and flash you learned to catch belong to an older playbook now. The version walking past you now is quieter, calmer, and far more convincing. Standing next to you at pickup. 10 signs that still slip through are coming up. Starting with what actually changed in the last few years. For most of the last decade, faking wealth was loud work. Announced through a badge, a bag, a posted vacation. That version was easy to read because the effort was visible. And effort is the thing real money never shows. But a strange thing happened. The loud look stopped signaling wealth and started signaling the exact opposite instead. In rooms where actual money sits, a giant logo became a warning sign. Proof that someone needed you to notice. Searches for the quiet, understated, old money look are up more than 40% in a single year alone. The problem is that quiet is cheap to imitate. A plain sweater with no logo can be $80 or $800. From 6 feet away, you cannot tell which one someone is wearing. And that gap is exactly the opportunity. You no longer need a flashy car to look like you made it. Just a neutral wardrobe and a calm feed. Meanwhile, the actual numbers underneath. American life kept moving the wrong direction. Households now over 18 trillion in total debt. Credit card balances alone sit near 1.4 trillion, close to the highest level ever recorded in history. The average interest rate on that debt sits above 20%. And Americans paid over $250 billion in interest last year. The gap between how wealthy people look and what they actually hold has never been bigger than it is in 2026. Real wealth still whispers. The trouble is that fake wealth learned to whisper too. And that is worth learning to hear. Learning to read the costume protects your own money and your own peace of mind going forward from here. Number 1, the costume went quiet. And the quiet itself is now the tell that gives everything away. The person faking wealth in 2026 studied the same trend you did. Knowing understated now reads as rich. So they assembled the uniform, neutral colors, clean lines, no visible branding. A look that says old family money. The genuinely wealthy arrive at that look by accident over decades, having stopped caring what strangers think long ago. The person imitating it arrives on purpose this season because they care enormously. And that effort leaves fingerprints everywhere. Everything matches a little too well. The whole outfit appearing at once like a costume ordered as a set. Sub-$100 dupes that mimic old money are one of the fastest growing corners of online shopping right now. The tell is someone who reorganized their entire appearance around looking like they never had to try at all. Number 2, they rent the lifestyle by the month. Since nothing is owned and everything is simply accessed instead. The car is leased, the furniture is financed at 0 down, and even the handbag might be rented by the app. On the surface it looks like ownership. Underneath it is a stack of monthly obligations ending the day payments stop. The average new car payment just hit around $770 a month. A genuinely alarming national number. Almost a third of people trading in a car more on it than the car is worth. Close to 7,000 extra. Millions of people are driving cars they do not own on loans larger than the car itself. Right now, the vehicle in the driveway is not an asset. It is a subscription with a steering wheel attached to it. Number 3, the purchase gets split into 4 and you never really see the weight of it at all. Nearly half of all Americans have now used a buy now pay later service to soften the cost of spending. 47% admitted paying late at least once. And almost a third have used these plans to buy groceries. Some of these plans carry stacking late fees that work out to an effective interest rate above 100%. Consider Delphine Mercer, a composite of a common profile whose dinner, jacket, and trip are all paid in tiny installments. Each purchase felt small alone, but stacked together. She carries a dozen tiny loans across several different apps at once. Number 4, they are buying the photo, not the thing. Since being seen with it once was always the actual goal, the dress gets worn for one photo and returned. The watch was borrowed for the afternoon and given right back. Sabrina Reyes designs this online, a rented apartment booked by the hour. Outfits returned the next morning, images quietly enhanced. The tell is a life that looks incredible in photographs and, strangely, thin the moment you meet it in person. Number 5, they talk about what they make, never about what they actually keep after everything else is paid. A high income and real wealth are two completely different things. And 40% of six-figure earners live paycheck to paycheck. When someone only tells you the river flowing in and never the lake they've saved, they're hiding the real number. Number 6. The impressive portfolio is mostly a feeling, gestured at with a name dropped and let hang in the air. Ask what share of savings actually sits in it, or what they do if it dropped by half, and watch the story evaporate. Wanda Ellison gives off calm, quietly wealthy energy until her water heater breaks and she cannot cover the $2,000 repair. 43% of Americans could not cover a $1,000 emergency out of savings right now. Same as Wanda, real investing is invisible and quiet. The loud version is often just confident talk with nothing behind it at all. Number 7. Their emergency fund is a credit limit, and available credit gets mistaken for actual savings in their mind. Nearly a third of Americans carry more credit card debt than they hold in emergency savings. An unsettling national number. That is a person who has mistaken a loan for a lifeboat and quietly named it peace of mind instead. Number 8. The beautiful address is the entire net worth. The house becoming the whole flex that hides everything else. The mortgage, taxes, and upkeep eat so much of monthly income there is nothing left to actually build wealth with. Every raise gets swallowed by the cost of maintaining the address while the retirement account barely moves at all. A home that demands every dollar you earn just to keep the lights on is an elegant cage with a view. Number 9. They upgrade on a schedule, not a reason. Since real wealth replaces things only when they wear out, Colette hardly trades her car every 2 or 3 years, always still owing money that rolls into the next loan. She has not owned a car outright in over a decade, buried inside the loan on the car she drives today. The scenery keeps changing while she never moves forward, quietly financing the same defeat again on an endless repeat. Number 10. They perform a generosity they cannot afford, which looks like warmth instead of the insecurity it actually is. Tessa Lynn always grabs the check and sends the expensive gift, and everyone quietly loves her for it completely. Half of those grand gestures are financed in installments, paid with money that was supposed to go somewhere important instead. The difference between real generosity and performed generosity is what it actually costs the giver. Behind the scenes, that check she is really trying to pay is the one that keeps everyone convinced, and it always bounces eventually. So here is the uncomfortable part. The genuinely wealthy and the people faking it can look almost identical now. Their clothes are the same understated neutrals. Both park something sensible. Both give off that calm and bothered energy. You cannot tell them apart by looking anymore. And anyone claiming you can is selling an old, dead playbook. But there is one tell that has never been fakeable, and it shows up the moment something actually goes wrong. When the transmission dies or the medical bill lands, the disguise cannot hold because this was always about reserves. The person with real wealth handles it and barely changes expression, because behind the quiet clothes sits a quiet account. That boring high yield savings earns around 4% while the big banks pay a laughable 0.01% instead. A used car got paid off years ago and never replaced for show. Money slides into retirement automatically every month. Neil Elkover is what that looks like, and you would probably walk right past her without a second glance. Modest car, plain clothes. A serious emergency fund in an account most people have never even heard of. When her roof needed repairs, she simply wrote a check and got on with the rest of her afternoon. Nia does not look rich because looking rich was never the point. She was quietly buying freedom instead. Freedom stays invisible right up until the day you actually need it. And then it is the only thing that matters. Here is the math that separates a Nia from a Wanda. Quieter and more brutal than any logo could ever be. Take two people who both earn $85,000 a year. The first saves and invests 20%, letting it compound. The second saves only 3% and pours the rest into looking the part for 25 straight years. At ordinary market returns, the first person ends up with over $1 million after those 25 years pass. The second ends up with around $160,000, nearly 7 times less for the exact same paycheck. Today, standing side by side, they might look identical. In 25 years, one is free and the other still performing. The gap was invisible the whole time, right up until the moment it quietly became absolutely everything that mattered. Somewhere in these 10 signs, you probably recognize someone. Maybe a friend, a coworker, or even a past version of yourself. There is no shame in it. Almost all of us have performed a little wealth we did not actually have. The whole culture is built to make you feel behind, and that pressure explains most of the performance you see. Tell me in the comments which sign hit closest to home, and which one you caught yourself doing at some point. What finally made you stop? Or tell me about the person you know who looks the most expensive and worries you most. Your stories help other people watching this far more than any single statistic I could ever give you. If nobody ever taught you the difference between looking rich and being rich, that is not a character flaw at all. That blind spot got built into your education from the very start, left out of every classroom you sat in. The real lessons, how money quietly compounds, how debt quietly drowns, how boring choices win, were simply never taught. You were drilled on facts you have not used since, and left alone with ideas that decide your whole future. That foundation is where everything else stands or falls, and it is exactly where the next video picks up. So which of these 10 signs did you spot in your own life? And which one are you finally ready to drop?